This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Congratulations, everybody. You did it. You made it to the end of the work week. Only a few more hours until you're free, and the weekend is finally here. And we've got a great weekend ahead of us, by the way. The Final Four is upon us. We've got meaningful games in the NHL and NBA as we approach the playoffs, and MLB full swing. We are loving it right now as we welcome you into Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network. I'm Stormy Buonantony, live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, alongside Keith Irizarry, holding it down over there on the East Coast. And I couldn't help but notice new background today, Keith. I like it. It reminds me kind of, have you seen the Charlotte Hornets court, how it's got all the crazy cool designs? It's like that, but cooler. Yeah. I'm vibing what you've got going on there.
You know, when push comes to shove, I'm just really, really cool. And we decided that we just needed the coolest, possible background for me. So it brings out the extra cool in myself. I just lost all of my cool by saying cool 1,000 times. But I could say the word aura, and then maybe I'd bring it right back.
Ooh, it does kind of give you that like bright light behind you, though. If you could visualize an aura, I feel like that's what it's giving off. So I'm about it. And it really brings out your eyes, Keith. It really does.
Oh, so can I, let me tell you a little something. So the other day I was on MLB Network hosting a show, and I had texted my sons, because they don't really watch me on TV that often anymore. They're like over it. I was like, oh, I'm coming on in 10 minutes or whatever, just turn it on the TV. So, and I snuck in a little kid line for them, and they absolutely lost it and loved it. So, I mean, I'm sure you've done those broadcasts where a producer says, hey, say the word apple, and it doesn't even mean anything. Yeah. So I snuck something in, and they were very happy.
I love those. I like when broadcasters do it. I like when players do it too, and they sneak it into their press conferences, and they just try to get around. Say French fries somehow, for some reason, or say wheat, and you're like, all right. And so it's just fun. It's cute. I love that idea. In terms of the betting stuff last night, I know we have a lot to get to. I did want to commiserate over something for a moment, because overall it was a good day overall. And we had some stuff come through. Red Sox Orioles over cashes for us. The Stars second line point combo. We said any way you want to put that together, or all three guys. All three of them get there, so any way that you combine that, it gets it. But Grace Remington and I yesterday had a segment where we're cooking up parlays. Because, it's fun. You had to have 3-4 legs or more, whatever you want to do. I put 4 together, and here's how this bad boy played out, Keith. Steph Curry over the alt points. That gets there easily. He has a monster day. Leon Draisaitl, anytime point. It's what he does. No problem. No sweat. UTC plus 3.5.
You got lucky, by the way, because he got banged up. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. But still, it's automatic. He's on the ice. It's going to happen at some point. But yes.
Sure. Yes.
UTC plus 3.5. They end up winning the NIT. Check that off the list. And then here's the leg that we miss. I was debating between, after talking to our VSiN hockey analyst, Jonathan Davis, on the show, I was debating between Lane Hudson or Nick Suzuki in the Montreal-Boston game. I was like, you know what? Let's go Lane Hudson. He's been an assist machine lately. Let's throw him in there. He is held off the score sheet. Suzuki has a 2-point night, and I'm reading Don't Kill Myself books. I was like, we're so close. And that's the thing about parlays that is always so painful, is that it's always one. It's always one leg that breaks your heart.
Well, I mean, and that's why the sharpest of the sharps will tell you that parlays are sucker bets, right? That's why all the apps are really, really intelligent. They put up these big parlays at the top, and they give their oh, this is a good one. This percentage of people are playing this parlay. They know what they're doing. It's very smart. Now, the thing is, you hit one of those parlays, you're living free for the next, couple of months or couple of weeks, depending on how much you put there. I would have told you to play Suzuki. He's been absolutely on fire lately.
Too little, too late there, Keith. You got to text a girl.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it's like we work together at least once a week now. You have my phone number. Brian has my phone number. It's very simple to be like, hey, Keith typically does a lot of hockey bets too. Let me throw it out on the group text. What do you think, KI? Or something like that. I don't know.
All right, fine. But here I just thought we were close enough that you might go out of your way and say, here's Stormy, Nick Suzuki's on a run. But neither here nor there, Keith. We'll see if we can get on more positive vibes
You
today.
didn't tell me you were doing a hockey play.
I'm just messing with you. But that said, well, I did cook up a burnt parlay last night. Chef Curry still came through for us when all was said and done, which is where we are going to start as we set the table for the show coming up today. Let's run it down. Our top 5 items to come here on Money Moves.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
Warriors-Lakers was the game of the night, Keith, and it delivered. Warriors avoid the regular season sweep. They win 123-116, and especially situationally, 6th game of a road trip, 14 days in, and they have a statement like this, especially considering how close the race is for seeding in the Western Conference right now. Huge win for them. What kind of statement do you think they made last night?
I think they made a statement that they are here and they are for real. The weird thing about the Golden State Warriors are, they're a game and a half out of being in 3rd place, and they're a game and a half out of having to be in the play-in round. So the end of the season is going to be critical for them. Steve Kerr has done some magic figuring out what lineups work the best, and Podziemski is looking every bit of what they needed from Klay Thompson back in the day. They're now getting with him. They're pretty fun to watch.
More on this game as well as what Giannis Antetokounmpo did in a moment. We also have our final preview before the Final Four. Those 2 games in the men's side coming up tomorrow. And, of course, we've got the women's action tonight. But we'll give you our best betting angles for Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston. Will chalk prevail again, or might these dogs have a little bite, Keith?
No dogs. It's going to be chalk. It's
Okay.
it's the year of chalk. I'm not trying to give away all my plays, but it's the year of chalk.
Unless you're Rock
Simple.
Chalk Jayhawk, because that did not work out
Ooh,
for them.
that's not nice.
Early
I wish I had the LeBron chalk right now. I would have just done this.
Well, fortunately, when we get to the baseball segment, we've got your baseball bat, right? So we'll still have props. No
it's
chalk
over here.
today, but we've got props. VSiN's own Will Hill is also going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on the Final Four, as well as the Major League Baseball slate. 14 games upcoming today, including one that we're going to have first pitch coming up in about an hour. We've got more props, I see. So we've got a bat, we've got a baseball, and you've got a microphone?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me lower the volume. Otherwise, it's going to... Let's try here. Yo, 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 yo. And now, batting number 1, Stormy Buonantony.
Okay.
We're in number 1.
I'm going to try to take your lead on that because number 4 in our top 5 will come up. Mike Palm of Circa Resort and Casino. See, yeah, not as good. I'll never be a PA. We learned that today real quickly. I'll never do play-by-play based on the way that I do some of these recaps, and I'll never be a PA announcer. Last but certainly not least, though, is that something you'd be interested in? No, I'm not asking you that. That's a segment that we're going to do later on in the show, which is kind of fun. We have our wonderful producer, Brian Ortega, who is going to play salesman for a handful of different wagers that he thinks we may or may not be interested in. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's kick things off here back to the NBA. Again, I think that the Warriors-Lakers point is worth just rehashing a little bit, especially considering what Steph Curry does. 37-point night for him. Even when he's supposed to be past his peak and past his prime, he's still delivering in big moments when you need it. And now you look at the combo of him and Jimmy Butler since he was added February 8th. As a team, they're 20-4. In the games where Butler and Steph Curry both played together, 19-2. Steph has upped his game since Butler has taken off some of the shooting pressure from him. And I do feel like if things come together for them in the playoffs, I think they're very capable of winning a series.
Yeah, and what's lost in a lot of this, Stormy, is the fact that they're playing defense now, right? So Steve Kerr, again, I know I just mentioned it, but he's been tinkering with this lineup and their best lineup. And the one that seems to be the go-to lately has actually been the starting lineup. So it's Curry, Podziemski, Moses Moody, and then you've got Jimmy Butler, obviously, and Draymond Green. Draymond Green is now the odds-on favorite to be the defensive player of the year in the NBA. Butler plays defense. B-Pods plays defense. Moses Moody plays defense. And Curry's even playing some defense, too. They've gone from a team that's all about defensive liabilities to now they can lean on defense while Curry and Podziemski is just, raining away three-pointers. I mean, Podziemski, he had 7 3-pointers the other night, 8 3-pointers last night, had that, half-court heave that he nailed last night as well at 22 points at the half. They're getting it from everybody. And you're right. The Thunder are the best team in the West. But when you go past them, you can find flaws in every single team in the West. So why not the Warriors? Why not?
And because of that, Potential value on the odds board. The Thunder to win the Western Conference are an odds-on number, -140, but you got the Nuggets +650, the Warriors 7-1, and the Lakers +750. So we've got some plus money prices if you think somebody could upset the apple cart with the Thunder. Two more huge games for Golden State coming up beginning tonight. They're 1-point favorite against the Denver Nuggets, total 235.5. Then Sunday, they host the Rockets. Lakers also, by the way, on the second half of back-to-back tonight, laying 13.5 against the Pelicans. Luka had a rough night on both ends of the court. He's 0 for 6 from 3. First time in 114 games he's failed to make a triple. 6 of 17 from the floor. And on defense, with Luka as the primary defender, Warriors shot 55% against him, including 6 of 12 from 3. So not his night, as his head coach said in the postgame presser. Last thing before we hit the break, Giannis Antetokounmpo also last night, first player in NBA history to have 35 points, 17 boards, and a career high 20 assists against the 76ers. Because that dude has done so much in his career, I think we don't necessarily appreciate what just a day in, day out monster he was, but tremendous output for him against a bad team yesterday.
And can we also talk about how the NBA, I know people discuss a lot about the ratings being down, but we are in a golden era right now. You know, Curry had 52 points earlier in the week. Then you had Jokic later that night have a 61-point triple-double. And then Giannis does this. The greats are just doing that. They're being absolutely great. It's really fun to watch. It's really awesome. I love the NBA right now.
And that's why I say I don't feel like we appreciate it enough, because it's almost become commonplace what freak of nature athletes these guys are. But a monster week in the NBA for a lot of these stars. We got to take our first time out of the day, but stick around. We're just getting started here on Money Moves, looking at the 14-game MLB slate coming up after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're back here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Money Moves on a Friday. Stormy Buonantony and Keith Irizarry with you. And Keith, I gotta say, buddy, way to bury the lead, because we're talking about all of this different stuff in the open. We're just, even in the commercial break, talking about your family and stuff. And then you slowly crinkle in, oh, and it's my birthday today. It's your birthday today? Happy birthday, my friend.
Sunday.
Oh, okay, Sunday.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens when they cut the audio off, and I only
ridiculously young.
They cut the audio off, and I could only see your lips moving. I thought you said today, but still, okay. Oh my gosh, adding to the conversation of this being a great sports weekend, it's a birthday weekend as well. Yeah. Do you guys have anything fun on tap?
I'll be at where we're dividing and conquering. My younger son's got a basketball tournament locally. My older son has a basketball tournament away. I'll go with him. Hopefully get home by Sunday night, maybe do a little birthday cake or whatever Sunday night. Fun fact, I was born on Easter Sunday. It's never happened again for my birthday.
No way. That's really, really cool. That's that's when you are in interviews and stuff and they ask, hey, okay, what's a fun fact about yourself? Is that the one you usually pull out of the hat?
It's one that I use, and then I throw this joke out there at the end. So my older sister had always wanted a baby brother, right? After a couple of months, she asked if she could have a doll instead. That took you too long to laugh, Stormy.
Sorry, it took me a sec. I was like, no, she did not. No. But okay, that's good. And hey, I do just want to say, as a parent, you're crushing it. And that I hope that your son feels a little bit of birthday pressure to win his tournament now that it's your birthday. So we're going to throw it in like that.
All the pressure in the world. I'm going to tell him that if he doesn't win, he can walk next to the car the whole ride home. He can jog. It'll be a nice jog, But all the pressure in the world, because that's totally the dad that I am. Yeah. No.
Obviously, he needs to understand his priorities, Keith. With that in mind, though, hopefully it's good weather for him on the jog back home, because we've got some interesting weather in MLB today as you kind of look across the 14-game slate. Coors and Wrigley making their home field debuts today with cold temps and wind. Rockies A's still rated pretty positively for runs. I mean, it is Coors Field still at the end of the day, but it's going to be as low as 36 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds. Run total in that game, 9.5. Fun for the A's, I'm sure, that have been in Sacramento to now go to snow on the ground. Cubs, Padres around 45 degrees today. It is a Shota Imanaga day, so low total there at 7, getting even money on the over. Meanwhile, we also have as hot as 84 degrees in Atlanta. So it's pick your poison weather-wise today. We've got the full gamut. it, but obviously these are important things to get into. Any of those weather games, though, first and foremost, that did catch your eye and break down?
Crazy to say this, but I like the under in the A's and the Rockies, and let me explain. So you mentioned the weather. On one hand, it's the wind. So 15 to 18 mile per hour winds blowing in is expected at Coors Field. That should be a very strong factor. The temperatures, we're expecting maybe some light snow. 38 degrees is going to feel like 25. That will make it hard to hit the ball and not hurt your hands, right? Let's go a little bit further. The Rockies bullpen has been bad, but their starters have actually been awesome this year. The lowest ERA of any team in Major League Baseball at 1.35. That's a shocker. And then for the Colorado Rockies, I know that they haven't been at home, but they've scored an MLB low 11 runs in 6 games. So you're basically getting 1.8 runs per game out of them. That's not good. So let's go under in Colorado, and I don't know if I feel great about it, but all the math and all the storylines and everything would tell me this is a slam dunk.
I'm definitely going to be rooting for you. It's hard to imagine, though. After I just keep on thinking about how many runs the A's have given up the last couple games against the Cubs. And granted, it is the Cubs, and that is a ballpark where clearly the ball was flying out of the, it's a smaller surface area that they're dealing with. It's warmer weather. The A's pitching is bad. So there's a lot of factors that were working against them. But yeah, I'll be rooting for the under in this one. There is a total that I am betting today that... Well, I leaned. So this is what I struggle with, Keith, because I'm new to betting baseball daily. And I was looking at this White Sox-Tigers game. First pitch from Comerica Park in just under an hour. So this is one that's going to get started soon. Fun fact, by the way, on this one. The White Sox are tied for the division lead in the AL Central. 2 wins so far, but that's how they all are atop the division right now. Low total game at 7. And you can understand why. It's a good pitching matchup here. But when you're expected to, the White Sox are expected to have the worst offense in baseball, or one of, good pitching matchup. Is 7 even too high for this one? I haven't bet it yet, but I did lean under on the 7, and I feel like that's a tough pill to swallow in such a low total game, but that is the side that I lean to. Thoughts?
Jack Flaherty is really good, right? Except for the fact that the Tigers, in general, as a pitching staff, have been bad. Their ERA is over 5 on the season. It's probably their biggest weakness all year long for this team so far. Jonathan Cannon is a relatively young pitcher, hasn't given up a run yet this year, but some of the numbers for Cannon, he started 3 times against the Tigers last year, gave up 14 earned runs in 10 innings. That's a 12.60 ERA. So the worst ERA against a single opponent. I would stay away from this total because I think your thinking on the surface is correct. All the numbers would tell me it's wrong, which makes me run away and say, no, thank you.
Okay, I'll stay off because that's one that I haven't put in the account yet. So good note there. We'll preview this game a little bit more later on as well, right before that first pitch. One game I know you do have investment in is Blue Jays Mets, opening day at Citi Field for the Mets. Game 1 of this weekend set. Kevin Gausman going for Toronto, Tyler McGill for New York. Recently, we saw Pete Alonso carry the Mets to a win Wednesday in Miami. 3 hits, drove in 4 runs in that 6-5 extras win. Toronto, meanwhile, fresh off a 3-game sweep of the Nats, 4-game win streak for them. George Springer has been hot. What stood out to you in this one?
Well, I'm in New York, right? And I'm, every dad and mom is telling me, take your kids out of school on Friday. Go to the home opener. I'll use the take the kids out of school thing for other opportunities. Juan Soto is going to have a big day. And you have to decide how you want to attack this. So I'm going to give you options. I know we're doing the, would this interest you later? But I'm going to give you options. And then I think the bettors out there can kind of figure out what they like better. So I think you could look at the over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs prop. It's around -130 depending on when you hop in. Or you could just go for a singular run at -145. That was the best number I saw on FanDuel. And here's why. So 1, he's got good numbers against Kevin Gausman in his career, 8 for 15. That's a batting average over 500, has 2 doubles, has a home run, has 12 walks. I bring up the walks for a reason. because that can lead to your runs, which are things you need for both of these props, right? I'm not doing a total base prop. If I think he's going to hit a home run, I'm going to play the home run, not the total base prop on Juan Soto today. He's gone over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 4 of his last 6 games, 4 of the 6 games this season, and he's batting .333 in his career at Citi Field. 12 home runs, 26 home runs in 35 career games rather at Citi Field. So put all of those things together. I think it should be a good day for Soto for the home opener at Citi Field.
Okay, let's keep it with New York, although the Yankees are playing in Pittsburgh. But Max Fried on the hill, Yankees a -170 road favorite against the Pirates with Mitch Keller starting things out. Their +142 run total in this one, 7.5. I have a bet here. I know you have another bases prop total here. Who are you looking at?
Well, Mitch Keller, happy birthday to you. 29 years old today. You're almost my birthday brother, and basically we're the same age. That's probably what I'm saying. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge here. And again, I think there are options here. So the home run at +230 feels properly priced. Most people don't believe in doing home run props unless they're at least 3-1 odds. I think Aaron Judge can kind of buck that trend. If you believe he's going to hit a home run, just go for it at +230. But over 1.5 total bases, -125. So the 4 home runs in the 6 games. The hits, runs, RBIs prop is something, Stormy, I wanted it so bad. But the books priced us out. Instead of 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, it's a 2.5. I can't do it. I'm not interested in it. So it's game number 1,000 for Aaron Judge. You'd expect him to do something fancy here. So I will go over 1.5 total bases, -125, and then a little sprinkle on the home run at +230.
Okay, I love it. I'm backing the Yankees, but for the game, I got +110 on Yankees run line. I'm now seeing on DraftKings -102. So that has been a side that people are betting on as well today. I know Mitch Keller did look good in his first start, but also, it was against the Marlins, and this bullpen isn't any good. Bottom 10 in bullpen ERA, taking on a Yankees lineup with the torpedo bats making all the headlines, but most home runs in the league so far, #1 in OPS, top of the board in so many of these batting statistical categories right now. And Max Fried facing the much easier lineup. I'm just better team in the Yankees on the run line. I am trusting it. By the way, we'll have our best bets at the end of the show. All of them go up on our website, VSiN.com, each and every day, VSiN.com/picks. But if you want more than the picks, you want the data, you want the breakdowns, you want the bet splits, become a VSiN Pro subscriber at VSiN.com/subscribe. We've got our summer special going on right now where you get full VSiN Pro access through August 1st for just $59. Check it out today, VSiN.com/subscribe. We're going to take a break. When we come back, VSiN's own Will Hill is going to join us, get his thoughts on the MLB card and the Final Four. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Rolling along on this Friday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, channel 158. Stormy Buonantony and Keith Irizarry with you. Going to carry over some of our MLB conversation, also get into a little Final Four action as we welcome into the show VSiN's own Will Hill, host, of course, of the Should Have Bet More podcast. You can also catch him on Fox Sports Bear Bets podcast with Chris the Bear Felica. Follow him on X at @TheWillHill. Will, what's going on, buddy? How are you today?
What's going on? All is well. Always happy to be with you guys. How are you?
Good. And see, Keith is smiling big because I did my job. I did the pleasantries today. I didn't just jump right in. I said welcome. I said hello. We're making progress here, I think.
You're becoming a civilized human being. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. You know what? You're growing, Stormy. It's really nice to watch you grow in front of our eyes.
Thank you. Big growth moment for me. I'm going to take it in stride. But that said, let's get into some of the action because last segment, Will, we were kind of breaking down the MLB slate today. 14 games, a few interesting weather games, a lot of teams that are making their home season openers today. Anything that stood out to you on the card?
I like the Arizona team total over 4.5. I've actually watched them a lot the last few nights playing against the Yankees. Now, some of it is the Yankees starting pitching is really something that I think is an issue long-term. You look at Stroman and Carrasco, Will Warren, Rodon at the top of the rotation. I'm sure Fried will be fine, but that is just not big-time starting pitching. But Arizona can hit. They got speed. They've got power. They've got a deep lineup. So I'm looking at them over 4.5 team total going today against the Nationals in Irvin. They are on the road in Washington, so they're going to get the full complement, 9 at-bats. To me, I think they're going to be able to score 5-6+ runs. Nationals bullpen that isn't very good. So I do like the Arizona Team total over. And again, just big picture, Yankees still probably around plus 200 or so to miss the playoffs. Well, you run out that pitching every day. I know how great Judge is, but if Judge ever misses a month, 6 weeks, he's been known to do. We'll see how that rest of the lineup carries it over. And just, man, I don't like that pitching. I know they'll get Schmidt back at some point. Cole is not coming back. They're going to need to make a trade or multiple trades because that is just not really big time pitching. And I know that. Look, a lot of these teams make the playoffs now. 6 teams make it, so it's a lower bar. But I'd be concerned long term here about the Yankees.
Why would you bring up that word INJURED when you talk about Aaron Judge? Like every Yankee fan right now was watching this and listening on radio, and they will immediately like throw a hex at you. I don't believe you should have done that. I disagree with it. Anyway, all right. So from a standpoint of early season betting with baseball too. So Stormy and I were talking a lot about weather-related situations, whether it's cold and light snow and stuff like that. How much does that weigh into how you handicap some of these baseball games?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to factor in. But I don't think it can be your whole handicap. But just in general, it is still super early. You don't have a lot of data to go by. Weather's an issue. These pitchers have actually gone deeper into games than I have really anticipated. I look a lot at pitcher under, hits allowed, strikeouts, things like that, because I just think the market loves to bet overs with all of this stuff. But these pitchers, from what I've noticed, have gone more into the 6th, 7th inning. Evaldi the other night threw a complete game shutout, which I wasn't expecting. Or wasn't expecting to see a whole lot of complete games, shutouts this year, and we got one early April. So I think with all this stuff, it's just sort of tread lightly and just kind of look. There's so much to bet. There's so many markets, so many games that you just kind of take it easy. Keep an eye on the Braves as their winless. I think their number is still around 2-1 to miss. So just sort of in the gathering information process here with baseball still.
Hey, well, they are a favorite today, kicking things off against the Marlins. But it is crazy, and I feel for the schedule that they've had to start the season that the Braves are 0 here. Meanwhile, the Dodgers off to this surging 8-0 start, winning games that they even shouldn't. Like, you have their manager on the podium in that last game when they come back and Shohei Ohtani walks it off saying that's not a game that we deserve to win, yet here we are.
It's a little like the 2017 Warriors, where there's just such a margin for error, where even those Warrior teams are having a bad night, they're down 10 or 12, and they just kind of flip the switch and they end up winning comfortably. There's just so many ways to beat you. The bullpen's really good. They've got 1 million starting pitchers. The lineup is deep. It has power. They're really sound analytically in the front office, and they're just relentless in terms of spending money and adding talent, and it shows on the field. And Keith and I, as Yankee fans, we wish we missed those days, because that used to be the Yankees, where they'd spend money and just add player after player after player. It matters. Not that you're going to get every signing right, not that you can't win without spending money, but when you have the analytics and you have the intelligence in the front office and you combine it with just an unrelenting willingness to spend and add and build your team, this is what you get. Now, it's no guarantee they're going to win. This year, they were down 2-1 last year to the Padres on the road with a bullpen game going against C. So they almost got knocked out in the first round again last year. But as far as it being just the best team, the most talented team, this team is absolutely loaded. I don't think 110 wins is far-fetched at all.
From a future standpoint, now that you do, because you used the word data a little bit earlier, and now that we have a little bit more data, is there any futures that are jumping out to you now, maybe from the player market, from a like an award standpoint?
Haven't jumped too much into it. My problem with, especially National League MVP, we just brought up the Dodgers. If Ohtani pitches at some point with their record, with everything he does, already hitting walk-off homers, man, some of these guys, it looks like, oh, could you take a shot on Lindor or Corbin Carroll, somebody down the line, Kyle Tucker? Are these voters eventually going to get bored of Ohtani? If not, if he's going to pitch midway through the season and do what he does on offense, it seems like dead money. As far as the American League, I haven't really gotten involved. Again, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like these numbers are just a little bit shorter than they used to be. You're not getting anything crazy in terms of long shots here with baseball. So I have not added as much in the past. Rookie of the Year is one I like to look at, because that's one where you can basically play half the season and still win. And you can get guys that, I mean, look, this time last year, Skeens wasn't even called up. So that's one where, you can kind of, if you pick the right guy, you can get some good odds on long numbers. But as far as MVP, Cy Young, these short shots, these guys you want to bet, the numbers are just too short. I mean, I don't know. It's a long season. Injuries happen. And take single digits on some of these guys, the guys you want to bet, it's just not enough bang for your buck for me.
Will Hill joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, VSiN Contributor, host of the Shoulda Bet More podcast. Let's shift gears into a little bit of college hoops. We've got the Final Four coming up on Saturday. Florida and Auburn going head-to-head, Duke, Houston. Did either one of those game spreads, totals, or prop, did anything pop out to you in terms of really having conviction? Because I really struggled with these two games personally.
Yeah, they both the favorites do look a touch high. That being said, I'm going to go with chalk. I'll start with the Duke game here. I just think that, look, they played last year in the Sweet 16, 54-51, ugly, low-scoring game. I don't know how much of that game carries over to this year because Houston was all banged up and injured, and Duke is basically a new team. The one thing that may carry over is the grinded-out, low-scoring, half-court nature of that game. I would look towards an under here. I get it's inflated. I get this is by far the best team Duke has played, and by the numbers, a lot of people think it should be 5.5. I just can't go against Duke. It feels a little bit like UConn of last year, of 2 years ago, where they're just a freight train that is terrifying to step in front of. I think their defense is underrated too. Like what they did to disrupt Alabama, I think they can do the same thing to Houston and just get them out of rhythm, disrupt their shooters. They held Bama to 8 of 32 from three and only 65 points. If they can have the similar success defensively with their athleticism and their length, I think they have enough firepower on offense to pull away and win. And as far as Florida Auburn, I just come back to Florida because I don't buy the fact that Broome is 100%, and that uncertainty is enough for me to pull towards the Gators. And look, Florida went in there in Auburn in February on the road, a healthy Auburn team with a healthy Broome, and won the game and won it convincingly. I know it's only one data point, but look, you can make the case both ways that Florida hasn't played well in this tournament, and they're lucky to be here, which they are, but I feel like they're sitting on a big-time performance. Their one good game in this tournament was a week ago against Maryland. That's when they had the extra time to prep. Their close calls against Texas and UConn, they could have lost to UConn, should have lost to Texas Tech. Those have only been 1 day of prep, so maybe it's something where Golden, if you give him extra time to prepare, his team's a little sharper. I think they have enough with – I don't think Broome's going to be healthy, so I like Florida to win. And some of these books that let you play college player props under 31 points, rebounds, assists for Broome, that seems like a lot for a guy dealing with a bad elbow. And if you're Florida, aren't you going to be extra physical with him, almost like a football player, a quarterback that's hurt or something? You're going to make sure you get your shots in. And even if Broome starts the game 80, 90%, is he that way to end the game? I would look at unders for Broome, and I think Florida wins. So I think we're looking at a Florida-Duke title game. I hope we get a good game. I mean, it's been it's been kind of a dud of a tournament. No upsets, no buzzer beaters. Hopefully we can salvage some of it here in the Final Four.
Well, as somebody who does have a prop on Janai Broome, I'm just going to respectfully hope I can disagree that he will be healthier than you anticipate. He told reporters he's 100%. He said he's feeling good. They gave him all the rest that he needs as a 22-year-old. I understand the argument, and we'll just have to see when we're out on the court. But remember what everybody said about Cooper Flagg's ankle, too, and then how good did he look at the start of the tournament?
So what'd you play? Over what market?
Rebounds. Over 10.5 rebounds. Right. Even money.
Over 10.5 rebounds. Okay.
We'll be texting back and forth about that one during the game.
You can grab 11 rebounds with one arm, guys. I don't really, I mean, like.
He grabbed 3 against Michigan State with one arm at the end of the game, so he got it. Will, I appreciate you as always, pal. Thanks for doing this.
All right. See you. Thanks for having me.
See, and I was nice on the way out too, guys. Growth. This is what I'm talking about. We're developing as human beings.
Wait, that was nice?
Okay, maybe. Well, after the disagreement, let me live. Okay, I want to make sure that I get some of our horse racing fans excited and involved here before we hit the break. VSiN at the Track, the road to the Kentucky Derby, live later on today and every Friday leading up to the Triple Crown with key Derby prep races coming up this weekend. Mike Somich, Aaron Halterman, they're going to get you caught up 2:10 Eastern on the VSiN YouTube channel and at VSiN Live. Again, VSiN at the Track. You got to check it out. Get set for the Triple Crown.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
2 weeks left in the NBA regular season, and for some, while yes, that means nothing to play for, they're trying to get as many ping pong balls as possible. For others, it means we're going to be in for a treat of some really important, meaningful games down the stretch here for teams trying to impact their seeding ahead of the playoff race, most notably in the Western Conference. We will get into that and the 9-game slate that we have coming up today in the association. As we welcome you back here to Money Moves alongside Keith Irizarry, Stormy Buonantony with you. And I am curious, Keith, like how difficult or beneficial you think this time of year is betting the NBA, because you look at the slate and 7 of the 9 games are double-digit spreads, but then you've got Nuggets Warriors that's a virtual pick'em game, 1-point spread, and some other closer contested, like OKC and Houston today should be a really fun game. How do you kind of unpack these things?
I go player props. And so there's a few ways to do this. For the teams that are fighting for things, right, you can look at their stars and you can attack those player props, although a lot of times the books have already caught up and those are inflated. The edges that you can find are in what you would call the role players, or the guys that are trying to prove they belong in the NBA, or maybe the guys that didn't have the best beginnings to their career and now at the end of this season are starting to put up some big numbers and typically play on bad teams that are trying to prove they belong in this league. So those are some of the edges that I typically go with in the final 2-3 weeks of the season.
So with that in mind, I know that there are a handful of player props tonight that you're looking at. So maybe before we get into the playoff picture as a whole, what's one that stood out in that element where you're like, hey, I think this is an appropriate angle for this game?
Denny Avdija, and it's the hardest last name to say, and I'm not even sure that I said it correctly. But yeah, the Portland Trail Blazers taking on the Chicago Bulls. The Blazers really have nothing to play for, but Denny's been great. Back-to-back double-doubles. He's got 24 or more points in 5 of his last 9 games. I'm sorry, in 4 consecutive games, and in 6 of his last 8 games. The double-doubles are in 5 of his last 9 games as well. So you could go double-double, and that's even money, or you could just go to his points at 23.5 at a -120, -125, depending on what book you're looking at. And the thing is, his minutes are on the rise too. So when the dude plays 32 or more minutes, he's putting up absolutely big numbers, and he's done that in 9 of his last 10 games, which has then given us 24 or more points in 6 of his last 8 games. So again, you and I joke about this streaks and trends things that some people in the betting world will say streaks and trends are not exactly the way you should look at this stuff. Mm-hmm. I really disagree with player props. I think you have to look at streaks and trends with these guys, because when a player is on a hot streak, ride that hot streak until it's over, and ride that hot streak until the books catch up and don't give you a number you can play anymore. So Denny's a good play for Portland. Double-double, even money. I like it. The points, probably the safer bet at -120, -125.
Yeah, -125 there. And then you said it even money again for the double-double spread in that game. Bulls laying 6 at home, -250 on the money line, total 234.5. And in terms of the seedings right now in the Eastern Conference, they're currently in that 10 spot of the play-in in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. I was talking earlier this week with Grace Remington about how I didn't realize this, Keith, but we have never in the, 4 years now, era of the play-in tournament seen a 10 seed go from the play-in to the playoffs. I was thinking about maybe having a little fun and taking a shot on the Bulls, or maybe one of those teams that lands in the 10 seed to make the playoffs from that role. Bulls right now are 4-1. I don't know if I'll get there, but I did think it was kind of a fun angle. Could the trend to our earlier conversation come to an end and finally see one of those 10 seeds punch their ticket?
I'm looking at, all right, so you got Magic, Hawks, Heat, and Bulls are the 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, the Hawks are beatable. The Magic are young, so you never know what they were doing to play in. I feel like the Heat would be a better team than the Bulls in the play-in, but Chicago's kind of hitting their stride right now. Kobe White has been fantastic. You deal away Levine and DeMar DeRozan and this younger group of players, it seems like it's almost galvanized them, and they believe in each other a little bit more. Josh Giddey's been really good for them. I don't have a problem with that. Also, by the way, absolutely shocked that you just told me that. I just assumed that a 10 had made the playoffs at some point. I do know this. the Eastern Conference is locked up, right? The top 10 teams, they'll shuffle around in their order, but no one else can even make the play-in. Chicago's already clinched that 10th spot at least. So
yep, that's where they are. But to your point about them playing well down the stretch, 10-4 since March 6th. Bulls have been playing pretty good basketball lately, so we shall see. Let's go back to the Western Conference, though, because we mentioned a little bit as we were discussing Lakers-Warriors, which if that seeding stands pat and we ended up getting that as a first-round matchup, would be fascinating. But you look at the Nuggets, Lakers, Warriors, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Clippers. So 6 teams separated now by just about 2.5 games, 4 seeds separated by a half a game or a game. It is we're going to have a lot of movement here potentially in the next 2 weeks.
We are. The Lakers, by the way, of all the teams that are in that little glut, they have the toughest schedule ahead of them. So they might stumble a little bit. If you are, I think whatever you do, you don't want to be the 4-5. Right now, Lakers and Warriors are 4-5. And while that would be fun for all of us as fans to watch, guess what you get in your next round, probably? The Thunder. So while, sure, Jokic is there in Denver, and some people might be afraid of what he could do to you singularly, if I am in the Western Conference, I don't want to be 4-5. I want to be 2, 3, or 6. Those are the spots that I want. I want to avoid the Thunder until potentially the Western Conference Finals. That's what I want to do.
I completely agree with you. Meanwhile, as we look at the play-in here, Suns on the outside looking in. Doesn't help that Kevin Durant is injured right now. Do they pack it in? I don't know. But not any help that they have to face the Boston Celtics today as a 14-point underdog. I know that was a game that you had an angle in, potentially. Just like a little fun, maybe pizza money type play in Suns Celtics. What were you looking at?
Yeah, so this popped up. It was on FanDuel. 2 or more 3-point field goals made in the first 3 minutes of that game. So it was minus 132 for yes or plus 108 for no. The Suns shoot a lot of threes. The Celtics have never not shot a 3-pointer this year. I think every shot they've taken this year has been a 3-point attempt the entire season. Yet another joke. Good laugh. Thank you very much. I'm struggling here with my jokes.
Sorry, I know I was slow to your sister wanting a doll over you as a child, but I got that one. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, minus 132. It's not the biggest payout here for yes, but it might be a way to get involved in the game, and you would know if you made your money within the first 3 minutes.
Do you think, just as we do put that in the play-in conversation, that it's kind of done for the Suns now with KD out?
Yeah, I think the Suns are done. I was actually having this conversation with somebody yesterday. The thing is, so they're, a game behind the Kings for that 10 spot. It's not like I believe in all the other teams ahead of them. I mean, the Mavericks are dealing with their own injuries. Kyrie Irving is gone. The Kings, traded away De'Aaron Fox, and you don't know what they're really doing. The Clippers just seem to be stumbling right now, even though they are talented. Minnesota is talented enough, and Anthony Edwards, thwarted what looked like an ankle injury yesterday, came back and played. So I think we know the Timberwolves and Clippers will be there. I think I lean towards the Mavericks making it because of Anthony Davis, and I think the Kings are just better than the Suns right now. So yeah, I think the Phoenix Suns will end up falling on the outside looking in, which will lead to some fun offseason conversations about where Kevin Durant is going to end up. I know those conversations have already started a little bit amongst a bunch of different networks. Yeah, bring them to New York. Have them be a Knick. Why not?
I'm bummed because no, of course you want them to New York. I was bummed because I bet a Suns 4-1 to make the play-in, and they were cruising there for a minute before the KD injury, and then it all crashed and burned. I was so excited that it was live. They got it out to minus 200 to make the play-in because the Mavs and Kyrie and everything that was happening there, I thought we had a chance, but that has gone away. One last thing, last 60 seconds here. Thunder Rockets, Thunder laying 6 on the road, total 228 there. You're targeting Chet Holmgren for his points. Why?
Yeah, I like Chet Holmgren in this one. Over 14.5 points is something that when he gets his minutes, he does. And what we've noticed over the last, 10 games or so, the Thunder tend to win games by a lot and are not in these close games. I expect this one to be a close game. When he gets his minutes, he tops this prop rather easily. Let's go over 14.5 points, minus 115, Chet Holmgren.
Let's roll with it. Remember, everybody, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring any and all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. You get cash back rewards plus 100% approval for any and all betting deposits. You can sign up today over at edgeboost.bet. And when you use our promo code MONEY, deposit $25, Edge Boost is going to match that deposit for you. Head over today to edgeboost.bet. Again, promo code MONEY. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, resetting for hour 2 of the program, give you the lowdown on White Sox Tigers as well as the Final Four.